Hey everyone, well, it's a cold tonight in my place, and I hope you guys doing well over there. You guys should consume some vitamins and also get enough sleep, eat well, and get enough water. So, welcome back to Sefeo Podcast. I'm here. I'm Chintara, but I'm not alone. We also have Kris in here. Hey Kris,
Hi, Chintara.
how you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great. So,
Yeah,
tonight we are going to talk about human and imperfection.
sounds
Well,
good.
imperfection is beautiful part of human being. Don't you think so?
Yes, I do. I do.
Mm.
It's a part of human nature. It's a part, you know, uh, part of us that makes us human. Parts of
Yeah.
us that helps us to connect with each other, help each other. Um, yeah. So I think, yeah, in a nutshell, that's how human is. I agree with
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. And I really want to know more about your opinion. What is imperfection?
Okay. So yeah, basically, I mean, quite literally, imperfection is the opposite of perfection, right? It's something that is suboptimal at some level, at some assessment of things. Um,
Mhm.
it is it is suboptimal in many ways, but it is also beautiful in many other ways. That creates the urge to connect with each other. That creates the emotional connection
Mhm.
between people, between human, and that I think is also one of the reasons why we have society. We rely on each other to be better.
Mhm.
Maybe in one way is to be perfect, right?
Mhm.
For example, I asked your help to give me some advice. How can I be better in something? Because I realize that I have imperfection. I have flaws in some things that I believe that you have knowledge, wisdom, or skills that can help me. And that's that vice versa feelings and emotional connections too as well.
Mhm.
You also feel that way to me or to other people. So that's I think that creates a healthy society.
Ah, and the imperfection makes human as social creature, a creature that will always need to socialize each other, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And you were talking that imperfection makes us always want to develop ourselves, right? To get something like a perfection
hmm
or something else. And I'd like to know your opinion. Is that impossible or is that possible for a human to be perfect? Because they are imperfect, but they always yeah want to develop themselves. Is that possible if they can be a perfect human?
Right. In my opinion, I think of course there is a possibility, right? Possibilities are essentially endless. There's lots of possibilities for us
Mm,
to be better, and also it means that it is also possible for someone to be perfect at some level, at some point, at some assessment, at some standard, so to speak, right? So
mm,
yeah, so at some points, at some how to say general acknowledgement. Yeah, I
yeah.
think there is a possibility for someone to be
Mm.
perfect at something, at least.
Oh. So it's like a self-improvement that can lead us to be perfect uh as what we want to be like.
Mhm.
Being perfect means we can embrace all of our imperfection and get over it all.
Exactly.
Mm,
That's what
thank
I
you.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot. And I want to ask you another question.
Hmm.
So I often heard about this from society, and I'm a bit curious about your opinion. What
Hmm.
does it mean to be perfectly imperfect? And what's the difference with imperfectly perfect?
Those are very poetic questions.
Okay.
Okay. Um, to answer your first question, imperfectly perfect, right?
Yes.
Okay. What does imperfectly perfect? I think it relates to a human standard. I mean, it's only my opinion. It's not by any means you know a definition or anything. But in my personal opinion, I think it relates to us as being human. We are imperfectly perfect. I mean, each of us has flaws. Each of us has something that we want to polish. We want to develop, to get better at. And yeah, and those sort of things are the manifestation of imperfections in each of us. But in
Mhm.
general, that makes us perfect. That in the sense of a healthy society, in the sense of a healthy
Mhm.
mindset of each individuals, and perfectly imperfect. I
Yeah.
I'm a bit puzzled about this one. This is really, really poetic. This is really psychologically challenging question. Um,
Okay.
but I think it's kind of have to do with the nature. So it's the outside for not outside force. It's something outside the humanity itself. Mother Nature has her unique way to
Mhm.
to be perfect in a lot of ways, in a lot of layers, in a lot of sense, and yet it is imperfect, but it still works in harmony, and that creates life. That
Mhm.
um, gives us chance to grow. I mean, not only us humans, but all the living things that we know here on Earth. So it's probably the best guess I can give you for this questions.
So it's kind of similar, right? I mean,
Uh,
there's something like a connection. Yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
Yeah, perfectly imperfect and imperfectly perfect. So I know that all of us as a human, we
Mhm,
are imperfect. All of us has flaws, and that's
mhm,
absolutely normal. It's a
mhm.
human being. I would like to ask you a personal question. It's a little bit
Oh,
personal. So,
okay.
do you accept your flaws? Do you
Uh,
accept your imperfection?
yes, I do, and I think it's very important for me. Um,
Mm,
there are some stages in if you want to say embracing the flaws, embracing the imperfection.
mhm,
And I think the first one is to acknowledge that I am imperfect at some levels. I am imperfect at some aspects of my life. I have to
mhm,
acknowledge that. And I have to embrace the fact that my imperfections makes me me. And then why I say it's a healthy state of mind, because by acknowledging it, by embracing it,
Mhm.
I have the opportunity to get better, to deal with it. I mean, some of my imperfections, probably it's best to just leave as it is, but
Mhm.
some other parts of my imperfection can be can be polished, can be sort of trained to be better at.
Mhm.
Like, let's say, for example, my skills. I have some skills that I've just gained, for example, and because it's in my early stage of knowing that skills, it means that I am imperfect. I have
Mhm.
lots of flaws in that. I don't have full knowledge on that. So that is the part of my imperfection that I have the chance, or I have the opportunity to be better at, you know. So yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Mm.
what I thought.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great answer. So it's like you have a good self-awareness and self-consciousness. You
Try to.
realize what
I try to.
you, so you're still working on it.
I am.
Mhm. So that's just how you get over the fear of being imperfect and embrace your flaws, right?
Uh,
Mm.
yeah, get rid of the fear. Well, fear is one of the unique emotions that sometimes
Mhm.
it attached to other emotions, to other feelings, and because of some other circumstances that happen, and some other circumstances that makes me me. Um, I would say it's not fear, but it is how to say, it's more about curiosity. I mean, okay, let's say I have these imperfections in me,
Mhm.
the skills, the knowledge, or some, certain abilities, or something. Um, I don't see, or I don't feel um, fear for having it, but I have the curiosity on it, which means that I'm curious whether or not I have to leave it as it is, or I have to do something with it. I mean, like, I have to deal with it. I need to, like,
Mhm.
train myself to get better, or to polish my knowledge, my skills, or my other imperfection things. So yeah, it's for me, it's not fear, but it's more about curiosity. Chintara, you're freezing.
So, hello, are you there, Chris?
Yep,
Is my voice clear?
loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, so you were talking that uh, you can decide something that you might can fix it, but something that is um, you cannot. So you were saying that there is something that we can fix, and there is something that is out of our control,
Um,
right?
I'm not necessarily saying that. What I'm saying is that once I
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge my imperfection, I
Yeah.
have um, I have the liberty to deal with it. Either I want to be better at, or to pursue the perfection in that, or I just leave it as it is, because it has small, or almost no impact in my life or in others. life around me. It doesn't necessarily mean that I cannot improve my imperfection, but I have the liberty. I have the options to either to deal or not to deal with it.
Oh, okay. So, the way you decide to take a deal with it is is how you think it will impact your life, or it will impact on society.
Exactly. Yeah. How will it
Mm,
impact my life, and how will it has some potential impact to people around me and
mhm,
people around me. So that's how I that's how my way of thinking on how I decided if I want to deal with that or not.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds selfish, but yeah, I guarantee it's not a selfish thing.
No, it's not selfish, I think. It's a good self-awareness, it's a good self-consciousness. You really know yourself and you really know what to do. You really know what you want. That's not selfish.
Thank you. Okay.
That's a good habit, though. Well, do you agree that sometimes flaws can make someone become more attractive when they can embrace themselves? You know, the trend that is happening at the
Mm-hmm.
moment is like embrace the imperfection. Like
Mm-hmm.
they shows their imperfection, and it means that they accept themselves just
Mm-hmm.
the way they are. Do you agree that this kind of feeling
Oh,
of
okay.
confidence makes people become more attractive?
Okay, okay. Well, to be honest with you, I kind of have
Mhm.
mixed feelings about it, right?
Mm,
In one point or at one hand, I do agree that we need to have self-confidence. We need to embrace whatever we have. Um,
mhm,
like the skills or probably the physical appearance or whatsoever, like whatever in
mhm,
us that makes us us. And having that kind of self-confidence is really important. Um, but on the other hand, I'm just a little bit curious if that leads us to be um, to be selfish and to live in our own bubble of truth, which means that um, there are lots of sayings in the internet
mhm,
like, oh, don't care what people think or say about you. You are beautiful, you are perfect, you are
mhm,
handsome, you are great, and so on and so on. It is very good. It is very um, pleasing to ear to hear, and it's very comforting for us to hear because sometimes we need
mhm,
that kind of encouragement. We sometimes blame ourselves for things that it's not necessarily our fault, but it just happened and it happens around us. So we, from time to time, we need those kind of encouragement. But I just wondering if that kind of encouragement, that kind of way of thinking leads us to be selfish, to live in our own bubble of truth. Like, hey, I'm awesome. I'm great. I am, I am full of flaws. I am full of imperfections in me, but this is me. You have to accept me as who I really am. And I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you might say to me, and I don't care what you advise me to do to get better. So that's what my mixed feeling coming from, you know what I mean? That level of confidence being so high, super high, that essentially you
mhm,
live in your own comfort zone, which at some point blocks you from accepting the truth that other people want to help you to be better at something, or to polish your imperfection. to present yourself as your better self. And there are lots of good people in the world, of course, right? There are lots of bad people. They talk bad about you, no matter how perfect you are, no matter how beautiful you are, no matter how skillful you are. If they hate you, they will hate you anyway, right? Haters will hate. That's what people say. But we also need to remember that there are lots of good people out there who, genuinely and sincerely care about you, because you are the part of this of the society, and you are becoming part of the face of the society. So if you are imperfect, that makes um, that creates a little bit of imperfect society. So basically, they're
Mm-hmm.
trying to help you because they want everyone to get help from each other, and they want the society to get better. They have a vision of what good society would look like with you in it. So yes, you can have that confidence, but I don't know where is the limit where you can stop being so confident and becoming
Mm-hmm.
cocky, right? And you basically build high walls around you from people who wants to give you advice and wants to help you to get better and to polish your imperfection, to be better at least at something. So yeah, so basically I have mixed feeling about that.
Okay, I get what you mean. So it's like being overconfident about ourselves, being too selfish about ourselves, can lead us to to be a person who don't want to have something like a self improvement.
Exactly. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I think. Yeah, but that's only one side. I mean, that's why I have mixed feeling about it. In one hand, we
yeah.
need to have the self-confidence, but we need to also know when we need to
Mm-hmm.
stop being confident and not being cocky, right? So that's really
Yeah.
a big difference in there.
Uh-huh. So everything has its portion. Like it has to be balanced. You
Mhm.
should be a confident person, but don't be overconfident.
Right, right. I fully agree on you on
Yeah.
that.
You must put yourself first, but don't be a selfish person.
Mhm. The world doesn't always revolve around you.
Yes, it is. I couldn't agree more. Well, um, since you were talking about overconfidence things and bad things, that's a part of imperfection. But a lot of
Mhm.
people saying like imperfection should be embraced. I mean, they are not willing to try to encourage themselves to do a self improvement.
Mm,
And yeah, sometimes it can impact the society. It has a big impact on themselves.
true.
So, yeah, in your opinion, what's the difference between something like a red flag, as what people say nowadays,
Hmm.
and imperfect things?
The difference between red flag and imperfections. Okay.
Mm,
Um, well, for me, it's two different things. It's two completely different things. Imperfection is basically, as I said in the very beginning of the video, imperfection is literally the opposite of perfect of perfection, right? So there are some part on something or someone that are less optimal or suboptimal.
mm,
Um, and why we say that? Because we humans often put standards on lots of things, and if there are things below the standard, we see that as imperfections, right? So
mm,
that's just the being. That is just the condition. But red flag is something more serious. Red flag basically is a behavior, action, or a possibility of action that might lead to dangerous result, harm, or threat to the doers or to the people around them. Let me give you an example.
Mhm.
How to say? Oh, this is a good example. We universally agree that a handsome face is a symmetrical face, right? I embrace myself. I acknowledge myself as not a handsome person, not a perfect person, because um, one of the part of being symmetrical face is that, for example, the eyebrow grows
Mhm.
fully from one side, from one end to another end, and I have, like crooked eyebrows. Like you are perfect, like you're beautiful because your eyebrows are so beautiful.
No, it's
Uh,
not. It's because of eyebrow pencil.
right, it means that you pursue the perfection, right? But
Mhm.
okay, back to my case. So this is kind of imperfection, right? And as I said earlier, some of my imperfections, I have the liberty to either deal with it or not to deal with it. And in your case, for example, you choose to deal with it. You choose to take actions to present the better self of you, to um, wearing some makeup or something, so that you can get rid of that imperfection feeling when you are in front of people. But I have the liberty not to do anything with it. But it's just the imperfection. This is just the condition, right? But
Mm.
red flag is something that is totally different. This imperfection does not affect, does not impact me, as in it does not impact my health, it does not impact my safety, it does not impact other people's health or safety or whatsoever. It doesn't necessarily give sense of a threat to either to me or to myself, sorry, or to the people around me. But red flag is something that is completely different. It is a behavior, it is an action, or it is a possibility of an action that impose um, how to say a possibility of threat, or something dangerous will happen if nothing is done, if there's no follow-up, if no one stops that behavior or that action. For example, how to say? Oh yeah, because I work in a property rental management. I give you one example that relates to my work. For
Mhm.
example, Chintara, you have a beautiful house of 2 bedroom, right? So that
Mhm.
accommodates 4 people. Am I right?
Yeah.
You put your house in the online platform, Airbnb, Booking.com, or whatsoever,
Mhm.
and someone book your house for 3 nights, for example. And on the check-in date, you are expecting 4 people to show up, right? But instead of 4 people, you basically welcoming 2 cars full of people, like 10 of them, and they bring lots of beers and alcohol and loudspeaker or something. And that what red flag is. You feel that, oh, that can be good, they can trash my house. What will happen if bunch of drunk people partying in my house? They can endanger
Mhm.
themselves. They can, completely trashing my house, and um, they can threaten themselves. They can put themselves in the danger, and possibly they can endanger my neighbors too. So that's red flag. So red flag and imperfection are two completely different things.
Mm. Yeah, I get the point. So red flag is something that would impact the society in a bad
Negatively.
way.
Yes, in a very,
Yeah.
very bad way.
Uh-huh. I see, I see, I see. So, Chris, I would
Mhm,
like to ask you another question.
mhm,
So, what do you think about person who has uh, who has imperfection, but they don't want to take a deal with it?
What do you mean? What kind of imperfection that we are talking about here?
Imperfection in general.
Mm-hmm.
They
Well,
don't want to take a deal with
mm-hmm.
it.
They don't
Yeah.
want to take action with it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as long as that form of imperfection does not impact themselves that much, which means that probably it doesn't impact their self-confidence, or it doesn't impact their future, their chance of getting job or anything, and it also doesn't impact society or people around them in a negative way. I think they have liberty to either deal with it or not to deal with it. But if
Mm-hmm.
if those imperfection does, I mean, have certain impact on themselves negatively,
Mm-hmm.
and probably also have impact to the people around them negatively, I think it's best for that person to deal with that, to
Mm-hmm.
find ways to get better at. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, you are in a very high competitive, um, how to say, labor market. You're looking for a job, right? And most of the companies are looking for people who are not only, past certain education level, but um, maybe um, having additional knowledge, or um, fluent in foreign languages, for example.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't have those knowledge, those skills, that I think is one of the example of imperfections, right? And those
Mm-hmm.
imperfections really affecting your future, basically. You cannot compete with others. Um, you're basically reducing your chance to get a job and to get a better life. So it's best for that person to deal with that imperfection, go to the language courses, or learn something more, gain new knowledge, and basically getting better at, so that one day you are prepared, you are fully prepared, and you are ready to get in to that competition, and you're ready um, to have a better future. So
Yeah.
that's my thought.
To compete with another participant.
Yes, with other people. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This question might be a little bit personal because
Ooh.
I want you to answer specifically like what imperfection you cannot tolerate from a person. Like you really cannot tolerate that kind of person. You don't want to be in their circle.
Mm-hmm.
What are those the imperfections you cannot tolerate?
The imperfection that I cannot tolerate.
Mm.
Okay, full disclosure, I'm not social butterfly, right? So I may not have thousands of friends around me, and
Okay.
in many cases, I rather, I mean, I prefer to enjoy my time being with myself. But okay, if it is, about people around me, I think one of the manifestation of imperfection in someone that I cannot tolerate is those who who lives deeply inside their bubble of truth, which means that every time we try to to engage in some conversation in some like social engagement, they always retract themselves from the topic and always talk about themselves, talk about their ideas, and oftentimes pushing their ideas to people around them. And they get easily irritated if someone is questioning their ideas or their opinions, or even opposing their ideas or opinions. So basically, they are not open to listen to people. They only listen to their own voice, because basically for them it's the only opinion that matters, is the only ideas that is the absolute truth. So
Mm.
everything outside the truth is just either a lie or stupidity. So that's that kind of person that I feel like, okay, just
Mm.
be there, and I don't want to be around you.
I feel you, but I bet that you ever meet that kind of person.
Yes.
How do you face it as those kind of person? You just let them talking, babbling, or how?
Um, I probably just let them talk halfway, and I leave the room. Yeah. I don't have any smart way to deal with that. I sometimes when I fed up, sometimes when I don't feel comfortable with something, I just simply leave the room. It's one of my imperfection. I sometimes cannot be too polite.
Yeah. Um, I would like to ask you the opposite question.
Mhm.
So, in your opinion, what makes someone becomes very attractive?
Huh. Interesting
Mm.
question, Chintara. Okay, what makes someone looks attractive to me? Yeah?
Yes.
Um, okay. I am very much attracted to people who can uh, engage in a wonderful conversation for a long
Mm.
time. Not in a boring way, not in they talk and talk and talk without listening, but really engaging in a conversation and really have wide knowledge on a lot of things that we can share thoughts or opinions or ideas, or sometimes a person who can comfortably say, hey, I agree to disagree. That's it.
Oh.
I really appreciate the person who has
Uh,
the courage to put that on the table. Okay, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. That's his opinion. That's her opinion. But hey, I agree to disagree. This is my opinion. But I mean, after all, it's still an engaging conversation. It's still an engaging discussion or something. That is the person I really adore. That is a person that really looks attractive to me.
is that a person like with assertive traits?
Kind of like assertive traits. Uh,
Uh,
yeah, if I think about it, yeah, kind of like a person who has assertive traits that
uh, yeah, it's the opposite way of being like a clueless person, a person that is lack of ambition or something else. They don't even know um how to show
cool
their
and boring is
feelings.
two different things.
Sorry?
Cool and boring is two different thing. I don't like being in with a boring person.
Oh.
With a cool person, I'm cool, but with a boring person, maybe not.
Oh, I see, I see,
Uh,
I see.
and what about you? What kind of what type of people that you feel comfortable or you adore, that you see them attractive to you?
Mhm. Kind of similar. A person who know how to listen to someone, a very
Mm,
good listener, with assertive traits. They know what they want to do, they
Mhm.
know what they want to say, they know how to express their emotions safely, their negative emotions safely. They're always aware of their own mental health, aware of their own self-consciousness, or yeah, something like that.
Okay,
Mm,
interesting.
that's it. That's the quality of the person that I like.
Hmm.
Okay, so I will give you another question. This is gonna be the last question.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have a partner, you will learn how to accept their weakness. And what are weakness that you can tolerate? The weakness you can tolerate.
The weakness that I can tolerate. Oh,
Yes, you
okay.
can.
So we're talking about a romantic partner, aren't we?
It can be a
Or
romantic
friends.
partner, or maybe it's like you're in a group and there is someone with their imperfection that you can still tolerate. Hmm.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm kind of cool with lots of people's personality, people's traits, people's imperfections, um, because I see those things are quite beautiful, especially when we are in a group. We are discussing things. Sometimes
Mhm.
some of the people have more knowledge about the particular topic that we're talking about, and some of the people are just very um, active listener, not a really active speaker, and
Mhm.
some other people just sometimes they don't have any idea at all, and sometimes
Oh,
it's quite entertaining, right? If we are in a group or something, and I'm quite cool with that, you know. Most of the time, most of the moments, I'm quite cool with that. And if we are talking about a romantic partner, I well, I basically okay, when we have a romantic relationship with someone, we need to deal with the fact that we are not only accepting them as whoever they are now, but
mhm.
whoever they are as a whole person, as a whole human, which means that he or she um, have their strong opinion about things, have
Mm,
their weak opinions about the other thing, and they also have um, their past lives,
mhm.
their memories, their childhood, or their so
Childhood
basically they
trauma.
have, yeah, they have their own journey of life until the point
Mm,
we meet them, and we kind of committed to build a relationship. So I think it's um more complicated, but
mhm,
more exciting too as well, because we need to accept, and we also have to make sure that our partner also willing to accept us as who we
Yes,
really are,
of
because
course.
we have our own journey of life
Mhm,
until the point we meet them. So if I mean, as long we both on the same boat, I think it should be
mhm.
okay. Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, Chris. It is really great to talk to you. Your opinion is incredible,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, I agree with your opinion. It's just amazing to talk with you right now. Thanks a lot.
And thank you for your questions. I mean, it's really
Okay.
um,
And thanks for all of you guys who's listening to this podcast from the beginning till the end. I cannot wait to meet you all in the next podcast. And good night. See ya.
Have a good night. See ya.